Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Welcome to the midweek edition of the Full 100. It is Wednesday, the 12th of May today. And guys, we're going to go back on the vaccine tip for a minute. I haven't touched on that for a little bit. So we've got a couple of headliners today. And firstly, I want to say thank you to all those who commented on my previous video regarding the Noel Clark issue. I had loads of comments, loads of interactions. Keep them coming, guys. I welcome every one of those comments. Guys, today's show is titled The USA First Nation to Vaccinate 12-year-olds. Basically, the US is now vaccinating 12 to 16-year-olds. First nation to do so. And so we're going to look into that today. So without further ado, let's get down to today's show. Guys, if you recall, back in... It was the 15th, I believe, of February. I brought you guys a young man by the name of Caleb, who was interviewed with his father, and he was taking part in the trials which began in February back then. Well, the trials have come to fruition. The USA is now vaccinating 12 to 16-year-olds. Again, like I said, the first nation to do so. No other nation is vaccinating anyone under 16 at the moment. But I'm guessing that the data from the clinical trials that they carried out will probably help all of the other nations, which is what every nation is doing. You got data on that. Let's share it. Let's see what happened with that. And then obviously each country might still run their own clinical trials. So guys, the first video I'm going to air today is just a news headline about it, and then the second one is the true picture of the US. Before let me show the first video, and then we'll go into the second one, guys. I'll see you all on the other side. Take a quick look.
Now, children as young as 12 will be given the Pfizer vaccine in the United States in a push to immunise more of the population. The Food and Drug Administration said the move, which follows a successful clinical trial, was a significant step in the fight against the pandemic. 260 million doses have already been given in the States.
Welcome back, guys. So that's just a flash headline about it, so you know I'm not bullshitting you guys. It's real, it's happening. And guys, I just want to say something. All of last year, my coverage of the US situation with COVID was negative. It was sad. It was terrible to see 4,000 dying a day, 3,800 every day. They were breaking records up until January. And then comes Biden and a different mindset. Not a denial mindset, not a mindset to deceive people, not a mindset to just be an a-hole, you know? And the results are amazing. I mean, there's nothing more to say than to show you guys the video. The results are amazing. I mean, they still had 600 deaths the other day, but from where they were for such a huge country, and the amount of people, they're vaccinating over 2 million people every day. Every day. That's good government. The logistics alone to get that together is a nightmare from where they were. Trump left no strategy, he left no infrastructure for any of this. So this administration has had to build everything from scratch. And to be honest, last year I was the first person to use the term banana republic for the United States of America. And right now, the speed at which they've caught up makes me know America's still alive. They just had a monkey in charge and he just took them into the jungle. So guys, take a look at the progress on the USA and what they're doing so far. I'll see you on the other side.
There is really good news this morning about America's battle against coronavirus. The 7-day average of new cases is at its lowest point in nearly 8 months. If you recall, we were averaging more than 250,000 new cases a day in January. That number is now down below 38,000. The 7-day average of daily deaths is at its lowest point in more than 10 months. Since early July, 684 deaths were reported yesterday. That number was more than 3,400 per day in January. Hospitalizations, one of the best metrics to look at here, at their lowest since late September. Just under 35,000 people now hospitalized with COVID-19. That's down from 136,000. Look at that drop. To sum it up, since the January peak, hospitalizations are down 74%, Deaths are down 82% and cases down 85%. That is stunningly good news. And on the vaccination front, after the daily rate of vaccinations dipped slightly, you can see there at the end, they're going up again. We are vaccinating now more people a day, more than 2 million Americans a day. Now, we don't show it on this graph here, but we've had 2 days in a row where more people received their first dose than 1 week ago. That's an indication that shots are reaching new and maybe hesitant people.
To me, I know many people haven't been watching it like I have. I mean, people are just hearing numbers. Half the people don't even believe it. But guys, for someone who's kept an eye on where they've been, those numbers are phenomenal. I'm just really pleased for the citizens of that country that they finally have a human being in charge. I really am. Why do I say that? Because if Trump's left power, right? But yet his bandwagon, the Fox News, the Newsmax, the ONA, whatever they're called, these guys are still spewing rubbish. But the saddest thing of all is that these guys have been vaccinated. I'm about to show you a video of this guy, Tucker Carlson. I've heard him here. He's one of the most despicable people that I've ever come across. This guy's been vaccinated. He won't say that he's been vaccinated. He won't say he hasn't been vaccinated. He just will not answer that question. But every night, night after night, he's trying to sabotage what Biden's doing. But guess who he's hurting? He's not hurting the people, the 2 million every day who are queuing up and getting vaccinated in America. He's not hurting them. He's hurting his loyal followers. Just like Trump. Trump was vaccinated back in January. People didn't get to find out about it till March. 2 months later, oh yeah, I did get vaccinated. This is what these people are doing. These people are getting jabs, getting a vaccination, and the very next day they're out there spewing their rubbish about the vaccine. Guys, be careful who you listen to, because while they're trying to discourage you from taking the vaccine, they're in the queue waiting for their turn. Take a look at this idiot.
Between late December of 2020 and last month, a total of 3,362 people apparently died after getting the COVID vaccine in the United States. 3,362. That's an average of roughly 30 people every day. So what does that add up to? By the way, that reporting period ended on April 23, and we don't have numbers past that, not quite up to date. But we can assume that another 360 people at that rate have died in the 12 days since. So you put it all together, and that is a total of 3,722 deaths. That's almost 4,000 people who died after getting the COVID vaccines. The actual number is almost certainly higher than that, perhaps vastly higher than that. The data we just cited come from the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, VAERS.
Welcome back. Ask yourselves why. Why does anybody who's had a vaccine, like Trump, like Tucker Carlson, like many of these Republican office holders, many of them are anti-vaxxers, but have had their vaccine. Many of them support what Tucker Carlson is doing. Many of them go on the show and leave these questions that they got answers to. They got answers to these questions, but they leave it hanging in the air. So I'm going to, just because I showed you that video, I'm going to show you the video to counter that, so you know what these people do. Now, take a look at my very last video, and I'll see you guys on the other side to say my goodbyes.
So while Carlson's intent here is clearly to scare his viewers out of getting the vaccine, his points are egregiously, dangerously misleading. So first and foremost, Carlson says that 3,362 people died in total after getting the vaccine, or 30 people per day. But just because someone died after getting the vaccine doesn't mean they died from the vaccine. That distinction is not only important, it's absolutely essential. Consider that by April 23rd, the end point of the data that Carlson cites, over 135 million people had received at least one dose, which is over 40% of Americans. According to the CDC, about 8,000 Americans die every day from any cause. So if your sample is a group that's almost half of all Americans, of course there will be deaths, considering humans haven't quite figured out how to live forever. So just pointing to the fact that some people died in a sample of 135 million Americans isn't proof that the vaccine is causing harm to anyone. It's proof that, shocker, people do tend to pass away. In fact, 30 people dying per day when you're talking about 135 million Americans is actually severely below the number of Americans we'd expect to see pass away every day. If 8,000 Americans die every day, then our 40% sample means that we'd expect to see over 3,000 deaths per day out of those 135 million. The fact that only 30 are purportedly dying isn't only not alarming, it actually demolishes the argument that vaccines are somehow leading to a spike in deaths. And beyond that, think about the people who were first to get vaccinated from January to April 23rd, our sample time frame. It wasn't young, healthy children or teenagers, it was the most vulnerable Americans, the elderly and those who are the most sick or susceptible to the virus.
Yeah, so I think he's really a saboteur. That's what I think of Tucker Carlson. Every night he has a million questions about this vaccine. Somehow, magically, he has no one on his show that can answer these questions. I'm willing to answer these questions. And I have a question. I have two questions for Tucker Carlson. Number one, have you been vaccinated? Right. And number two, why won't you tell your audience whether you've been vaccinated? I'm tired of his his nonsense.
Welcome back, guys. So that's the truth to that video and those statistics that idiot was spewing to his people. Unfortunately, his people will not watch the last video I just aired. They won't watch that, so they won't see the counter truthful argument. They're just stuck with what Tucker Carlson says. The only good news is his people are the racist lot. His people are the white supremacists. His people are the same people who will lynch a black person, who will lynch an immigrant. His people are the despicable lot. So good riddance, I say. Guys, look. Beware who you listen to. You might be holding a torch up saying you're not taking a vaccine, but who you listened to or whose argument you're spewing, they've already had their vaccine, guys. So I'm going to leave you lot with that thought. Guys, I'll see you all on Friday. We've come to the end of the show now. As usual, you like what we do, please subscribe. Give me your comments. I always reply. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to say my goodbyes and I'll see you all on Friday. Subscribe. See you soon. Bye-bye.